so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. So happy to be with you guys as always, and I'm even happier because I am not alone yet again. I have the lovely Charis here with me. Hello, Charis. How are you?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. I like to bring in as much divine feminine as I possibly can when I can to give you guys a break from my masculine meanderings and ramblings. So we have some questions we're going to take today. Charis is going to help shine some light on some of these questions. She actually, we get quite a bit of questions these days from you guys, which I love. As you know, it's such a great way to connect and help you. I feel like you guys help to co-write the episodes essentially by writing in. And I let Charis take the wheel and choose some questions that jumped out at her on the list of questions. So we're going to analyze some of those. If you haven't ever written in and would like to, you can, of course, do it on the Facebook group, Positive Heads with an S, which is a lovely place to connect with other listeners and, open up. It's a private group, so you can open up maybe things you don't want the rest of the Facebook world to see and hear and, get support and write questions to me or just write questions to, the group in general. You can also go through our website, positivehead.com, or my direct email, Brandon@positivehead.com. And I love hearing from you guys, and maybe we'll answer them. We're getting more and more, so please don't be offended if we don't answer your questions. It's certainly not personal. We get to what we can, and as you guys know, I feel the things that are most pertinent to come up for as many people listening as possible are the ones that'll sort of make its way through. So I would say write in your question with a release of expectation, and we'll see what happens. But before I jump into the questions for today, I would like to take a second and read a review on iTunes. You guys know I love getting reviews from you guys. It not only helps us to reach new people, it helps to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. And so if you haven't done so, please do. Otherwise, this review came in by Elise Zakowski. She says, the best podcast out there. I stumbled upon this podcast a few months ago, and I'm so thankful that I did. The insight offered has helped me realize how immensely powerful a positive mindset is in creating a happy life. Happiness is a journey and not an end goal. And thanks to the show, I now have the encouragement I need to maintain a positive vibrational energy on a daily basis. Thank you, Brandon, for all that you do. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Elise, for completing the circle of love that I'm putting out into the world by sending some my ways. It definitely helps to keep me going. And okay, moving right along. Let's get Charis in here because I'm talking and I want to hear her talk. We have a couple questions that that you actually picked out, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, great. So this one came in anonymously on October 11th. Here it is. Hi, I have a question for you, Brandon. In the past week, 2 different people confessed to me that they have had suicidal thoughts due to depression or extreme anxiety. I share the Positive Head podcast with them regularly and try to uplift them with methods of positive thinking that I have learned, but I was wondering if you had any insight on how I can shine light into their lives in a sensitive manner. Also, any tips for keeping in balance when many people surrounding you suffer from mental disorders? I know this is a dark topic, but I find these confessional interactions to happen quite often in my life, and I would love your perspective on how I can help them. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for asking this question. There's so much happening right now. So many people are having the intense feels right now all over the board. I've noticed it just in the past couple weeks. So many things come up with codependency, depression, anxiety, insecurity, everywhere. Even people who aren't usually feeling it have been feeling it. So, and if you look at the state of our world, I mean, with the natural disasters and all the things going on, not only is it what's happening from within, but also a lot of you guys who probably listen to this podcast are empathic and are just natural energy workers and healers. So that means that stuff's going to come through to you. And not only that, but the people who are having the issues that are coming to you, they are probably empathic and they are probably energy healers. So it might not even be their issue. So first off, know that you can't solve their problem. Know that every path is divine. Who are you to say that someone who is having depressive thoughts is any less blessed or on their perfect divine path than someone who is happy-go-lucky and staring at dandelions every day? Because that's just the way that this world is. It's a dualistic world. We're not here to get one half of emotions. We're here to experience the full range. So first off, know that if they're coming to you because they see your light. They see your light shining, and that's a compliment, and that's great. However, you're not responsible to fix or change anyone. So first off, what you're doing, yay, recommend some stuff, yay, give them love, listen to them. But here's some things that I would highly recommend, because a lot of you, especially if people come to you and essentially use you as a transformative tool, use you as a transmuting tool, and what you do is just transmute the energy around you. I used to call myself like a Brita filter for chi. I was like, I just go around and I'm filtering things. But what that means is that you have to clear out. So first off, the most important thing is your personal practice, your practice, your practice, your practice. I know that you were asking how you could help them, but the way you can help them is by making sure you are a clear mirror, a pure pond. And how to do that? Meditate, exercise, and here's the most important thing, and this is actually what you can tell your friends too: earthing, grounding. Get outside in nature with your feet on the ground, whether it be sand or rock or dirt or grass or whatever it is. Even medical science, like I've said before, 20 minutes barefoot on the ground reduces inflammation by up to 80%. And the way that you feel that emotionally and psychologically is after you're outside for a while, maybe under a big tree or looking at the ocean or just hanging out outdoors somewhere, even if it's just a little neighborhood park. You don't have to drive hours outside of the city if you live in big cities to do this. Just find the nature. Open up the internet map that's on your phone and look for the green and just go there. And what you'll notice is after a few minutes, it's like you feel cooler inside. Things just calm down and soothe out, and your thoughts become more calm and more lovely and more optimistic. And if you make this a part of your normal routine, it may not be able to happen every day, but if you can do it most days or several days a week, then you'll notice stuff's just easier to transmute. It's just easier to do. And again, it's not your responsibility to heal them or help them. You can recommend what you want, but mostly it's just the act of talking to you that helps them. That said, the other important part here is boundaries. Boundaries. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's going through a super difficult time the other day, and I was having my self-care time, and she called me up and needed me to help with her self-care time, and I felt myself reaching capacity, which meant, although I really love her, I noticed that I was getting drained and I was feeling my energy shift. And And I know the difference between enabling and assisting because of what's going on in my body. So I told her straight up, and it's fine to be honest with people about this. I was like, listen, I love you and I do want to help you. However, I'm reaching my saturation point and I don't want to worry when you call me because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get drained talking to you because I love you. So here's my advice. Put on your jam out music. She was in the car. Put on your jam out music. Drive where you're going. Jam out hard. Not ooey gooey yoga, but something that is pumping, something that makes you move. Move that chi around in your body. Transmute it. Let it flow. And then check in with me later tonight and tell me how you feel. And then she did later. And the fear is that they'll say, oh, I'm so mad at you for not letting me dump all over you. But what actually happened was, I could tell at first she was a little taken aback, but I love her. And I wasn't doing it because I didn't want to talk to her. I was doing it because I do want to talk to her in the future, and not freak out about it. And she, sure enough, texted me later that night and said, you're an angel. Thank you so much. I feel much better. That was perfect. So you don't have to feel responsible for transmuting their stuff. You can tell them to go do stuff that's going to transmute it without you, and things like body movement, jamming out, dancing, getting outside, et cetera, that does help a lot.
Yeah, and there's all really, really great advice. Isn't it awesome that I can just sit back and let you take the wheel? And such great perspectives that maybe I wouldn't think to share. But a couple things that do pop up for me is if you can, oftentimes when people are feeling suicidal, it's because they're so focused inwardly. It's sort of a self-centered, perspective to get there. And I'm not saying that like judging them or anything like that, but it's all like me, and here's why I'm miserable, and here's what's the problem, and here's why I want to die, and here, and if you can get them to think about looking outside of themselves, Gandhi said, and I've quoted it a few times recently, the best way to find yourself is in losing yourself in the service of others. If they can find a way to, and that can maybe be easier said than done if someone's like really depressed or whatever, but if they can find a way to go out and get the attention off of themselves and onto maybe contributing to someone else in some way, shape, or form, they're going to feel much better, guaranteed, if they can get to that point. The other thing is, for me, the thing that always comes up with suicides that I think about whenever I think about suicides is the idea. I think back to one of my favorite books, Conversations with God, and you guys have heard me talk about it before. It talks about suicides and what happens. And I really agree with the perspective. And here's what rings true to me. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I certainly have strong ideas and beliefs and thoughts. And you guys know I'm not going to be shy on sharing them with you. So the one thing that really stands out to me, what I feel has happened when we incarnate in 3D, if you will, is we have signed up for a certain path. We've said, okay, I'm going to play the human 3D game. And that means once I sign this contract, I've got to find my way through the game over multiple lifetimes until I come out the other side. And, I've won that particular, 3D video game, right? And, you can't, the perspective that, if it feels useful to share with someone, and I'm not saying it always would be, but if you can share with them that perspective and they're open to the perspective of, look, this is especially if they're open to the way, understanding how the ultimate nature of reality works and that we're multidimensional beings and that this isn't just your only life and you're an eternal being floating in eternity and there's no time and all those things. If they're a person who understands that and resonates with that, then I would recommend talking to them about, okay, well, let's look at what would happen if you decided to check out, if you decided to step out of the game, right? By taking your life. Ultimately, you're right. From one perspective, it's doesn't matter in one sense, from the perspective of you're not going to really die. You're going to go on. But where it sucks is what I believe and what that book talks about is you are going to find that you didn't get out of anything. You actually set yourself back because you have signed up for a particular path, including the challenges that they're currently facing. And if you tap out, you're going to get to the other side and say, oh, cool, welcome. Here's some R&R. Here's some love, light, whatever, or not. I mean, some people say you get stuck, in darkness and kind of stuck in the same state. I don't know. I haven't been there. Either way, even if you're not stuck in a dark state for some time, like the movie we were talking about, What Dreams May Come, the other day, they kind of show an example of this. I don't know exactly, but what I feel is they're going to have to repeat what they just opted out of. They're not going to truly get out of anything. They're going to find, holy crap, I actually set myself back. Now I got to go into a new life. I got to go through not being able to walk again, babbling as a baby, all the frustrations, getting up to the point where I have a similar set of circumstances that challenge me and make me want to maybe take my life again. And until I work through it, I'm kind of stuck at a place in the game. So if you have someone that really, like I said, this may not be helpful if it's someone who is, doesn't even really, isn't, there as far as their perspective on reality, and they don't even know if they believe in an afterlife or any of that sort of thing. But if it is someone that does, say, look, you're going to be so regretful because all you did is set yourself back. In the grand scheme of things, no huge deal because you have eternity. You could set yourself back for 1 billion more lifetimes, and then in the end you say, okay, fine, I've had enough. I'm ready to move on. I'm going to work through this. But if the aim is to get through the difficulty and come out the other side, and oftentimes it is darkest before the dawn. And if they can understand that, if they can, how many times I've heard someone, I was suicidal and I pushed through, and wow, look at my life now. I'm so glad I did not check out. I mean, you even talked about as a child being such an empath and sensitive and intuitive that you had suicidal thoughts, correct? Absolutely.
I was super suicidal. I slept with a knife under my pillow wanting to slit my wrist, but I'm not really big on physical pain. So that was before the cutting came through our consciousness. And you're absolutely right. I have been to the suicide realm, and I've read of other people who have been to the suicide realm. Just a few months ago, a girlfriend of mine had gone through a really bad breakup and then got stuck in the loops of that and was contemplating it. And I did tell her exactly that. I was like, listen, dude, sure, if you want to off yourself. But here's the thing. You're going to have to do it again, and it's going to be worse next time because you tried to cop out. So straight up, I'm just going to tell it to you straight because I am a medium. And first off, if you commit suicide, I'm going to come over there and kick your ass because that's annoying. And do you know what you're going to do to all the people left here? Because that is way gnarlier for them. And then secondly, you're going to have to do it again, and it's going to be even harder. So just push through. And again, it comes down to, if it's painful to live in your physical body, then adjust the physical body, get in better shape, eat better foods, get outside, ground some of that energy. And like you were saying, it is often a self-centered, and again, this isn't saying they're a bad person, but they're just focusing on their own feelings, but they're part of this great big world. And there's pain and gnarly stuff in the world, but there's also a ton of beauty and creativity and lots of cool things here. So if they can just start focusing on that, maybe get some positive media, watch some inspirational stuff, read some books, create some art, go hang out with people who they love and who love them, it can shift their perspective long enough to take the edge off, so then the wave kind of comes down a little and evens out.
Awesome. I hope that helps the anonymous questioner, and I hope it helps anyone that you are bumping up against. That obviously there's a repeating pattern here if that's something that keeps popping up in her world. So we hope some of this helps to arm you with some insight and perspective that you can pass along, and hopefully there's good ripples in the universe from our feedback. And let's go ahead and take Danielle's question as well, and it is it's not the exact same, but there is some similarities with some mental health concerns and things like that. So do you want to read it?
Sure. Okay, Danielle wrote in on the 17th of this month. Hi, Brandon. Hope you're good. I think you're good. You're good. Great.
I'm great.
Thank you so much for your podcast. It is the only one that I can listen to every day, and I don't get bored. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I'm not sure if you know this mental illness, but basically, I have a chemical imbalance in my brain. I fear abandonment, have paranoid thoughts, self-injured behaviors, and etc. I always tried so hard to be a better person. I did not know that I have a mental illness. I thought that I was weak, so I couldn't change myself. I did so much: yoga, meditation, therapy, hypnosis. And today, I found out that I have a mental And the day that I found out I had a mental illness, I was devastated. I'd like to know your opinion about people with mental illness. I do not want to take medications, and I'm afraid that this illness will be forever inside me. I searched for famous people with this mental illness, and all of them have a S double asterisk life. They went through so many divorces. They have history of alcohol abuse. I am so scared to be like that forever. Please, if you can bring me any light, I'd really appreciate it. Okay. So first off, Danielle, just beaming you tons of light, source energy, just light everywhere. And know that first, you're not alone. What you're going through is not one of a kind. People go through it all the time. And really what mental illness is, because my introduction to even these realms was psychology. So, and even when I was having my spiritual awakening, I thought I was crazy. And I did struggle with depression during my early teenage years. So understand, right? It is definitely a real thing. There are all these diagnoses floating around, but what any mental illness is a set of certain criteria, of certain symptoms that are then diagnosed. And in our psychological culture today, we're focused a lot on diagnosis and somewhat treatment, but mostly diagnosis. It's just where we are. It's still in its infancy. It's not, our entire psychological culture is not even 100 years old yet. And so know that what's called an illness is just called an illness because they call it an illness.
Right.
Yeah. And also when you have any of these, you can have every single criteria of something, but the last and final criteria in the diagnostic and statistic manual that the psychologists use is, can they function in the 3D world effectively? And if you can, then you don't have the illness. It's just the way that it works. So you see, it's a little weird. It's not right what it seems. It's not like, oh, I've been diagnosed with a cold, therefore I have these symptoms and I can take an antibiotic or take some garlic and cure it. This is a different thing. And also know that the line between genius and madness is always a thin, blurry thing. So first off, look at all these things that you have, all these experiences that you have, and try not to see them as something that makes you broken or sick. Try to see it as something that makes you sensitive, makes you a deep thinker, makes you contemplative, makes you see through reality into other parts. And granted, it might be causing you a lot of pain and stuff, but if it does, that's just because you haven't yet learned how to use it. Think of all the superhero movies when people first get their powers.
X-Men First Class. They're all in pain with like, I don't know how to use it, and I'm blowing myself up and everyone around me.
Things are exploding. People are getting hurt. It's really crazy. So when it comes down to it, first off, for what you're going through with, it sounds like your mind is super active and things are really going on. So emotional regulation and meditation, make it a priority to get a handle on the own inside of your brain. Your brain is not you. Your personality is not you. It's partially you. It's partially your eternal soul, but also it's all the stuff that's happened in the world. This time, it's all the DNA information you're carrying from your predecessors, and it's also whatever's going on in your environment, the pollution, the toxins, the nameless traumas that are floating around in collective unconscious, all this kind of stuff. So think of your brain as just your central processing unit, your computer, but who you actually are is way bigger than just your brain. There's a book, and I'm forgetting the author right now, but the title of it is Emotional Alchemy. And it's really, 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 really good one. I can't stress it enough. And one of the major techniques in it that changed my life, I was going through a difficult time and I just stumbled upon it at the library, and kaboom, totally helped me. And one of the practices is when you're feeling super gnarly, especially when it's that itchy, annoying, inflamed feeling that makes you want to act, that makes you want to maybe do something like send a text message you shouldn't send, that makes you want to do something like maybe hurt yourself, especially if you have self-inflicting injury behavior. What it does is, rather than use that emotion to act, it has you just look at the emotion. So say you're really upset about something someone did or said to you and you want to fire out or just tell them how you feel and but you're feeling that itchy, inflamed emotion. Something that I usually practice is, if I'm upset, I know I'm not seeing clearly. I might be sure, I might have all these emotions going through me, I might really want to feel something, but if I'm upset, I know that I have to have blinders on somewhere. And so even if once my blinders are off and I'm back to center, I feel roughly the same way, my actions are going to be way different. So when you're feeling all those emotions, rather than acting on them, saying, okay, right now, I am feeling anxious and frustrated and sad, and just knowing that and just letting it kind of cook within you, because the alchemical process is one that uses a lot of heat, and it uses cold, and it uses dry, and it uses wet, and it changes you and evolves you and does all this stuff within you so that you emerge a more developed, eternally wise being. All of these pains are to make you have embodied wisdom. So in the end, you're going to be better off because of all this stuff. But going through it is the problem. So you find whatever practices work for you to take the edge off again, and then do them. But also make sure that you're being honest with yourself about how you feel, and just naming it in your own mind, just talking to yourself about it in your own mind. This is how I'm feeling. It's okay to feel this way. It will pass. And this is just how I'm feeling right now, is a huge help for those kinds of thoughts and feelings.
that was epic. And for me to chime in and add my 2 cents, what I think of instantly is many months ago, a year plus ago, where a similar review came in by Ross Cessna, who does the Spiritual Phoenix podcast. And what the sort of rant I went on in that episode was, this is a story that, I just found out I'm mentally ill. This is, and I'm hearing this story. And as I said to him, okay, let's tell a new story. Okay, I just found out I'm mentally well. It's mental wellness. And, these things are actually serving me. It's not happening to me. It's happening for me and through me. And this is a part of my birthing process. And I love the fact that, and you guys hear me reference it all the time. Once you understand, a lot of times people tell the story, oh, well, mental illness is in my family. I mean, my grandmother and great-grandmother and brother and sister and neighbor and the dog are all mentally ill. And so therefore, I have this thing, right? But meanwhile, you look at the research, like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief. You guys hear me reference this over and over and over again. Why? Because it's so powerful to understand. You hear it all the time. Oh, it's in my genes. It's in my genes. Your genes turn on and off based off beliefs. And go and Google Biology of Belief. Either get the book or there's like an hour-long talk that he gives. You can find, if you search YouTube, Biology of Belief, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I recommend everyone to watch that. He uses props to actually show, the science behind what happens with your beliefs and how you turn genes on and off with them. So this label, this story that you've told here, it's just a story that's been given to you. And maybe it's a story that was just been given to you so you can have the experience of saying, thank you for the story. I choose to put that down and tell a story of mental wellness. And it doesn't mean you won't go through trials or tribulations or things you need to work through. But as Charis said here, it's like, I saw an article not too long ago where a shaman talked about a mental hospital and how he went into it. And from his perspective, he didn't see it as people that were sick and lost and poor. There's nothing that we can do here. Oh, these are people at various stages of their own spiritual awakening. And these are sort of the byproduct of that ongoing journey, that process. And he saw like, oh, these are people on the verge of like big breakthroughs. So if you can tell a new story like that, like Charis just explained here, you're going to rewrite what happens. You're going to rewrite what's happening physiologically in your body. You're going to turn different genes on and off. And next thing you know, you're like Ross doing the Spiritual Phoenix podcast, giving talks on mental illness and how he overcome it and choose a different story and different path. So that is, that's my 2 cents on it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And also as a reminder, earthing, grounding, get outside. And when you feel these overwhelming emotions move in you, just let them move through you. Try to open yourself like a conduit, open yourself like a hose or a tunnel for things to just come through and let them just burn through you. Let them just sizzle off anything you no longer need. Have it be like a phoenix type of meditation.
That's perfect, talking about the Spiritual Phoenix. And with that being said, I hope this helps you guys. I hope it helps everyone listening, the 2 that wrote in. And with that being said, we're out of imaginary time, it looks like. Luckily, there's plenty more where that came from, so we will be back. Hopefully, I can convince Charis to come back. I'm sure you guys agree. She's amazing, right?
Oh,
right?
Thanks.
Right.
You guys are amazing. Fred, you're amazing.
All right. Well, with that being said, I will let you take the DJ booth and choose a song to leave the lovely listeners with. What do you got?
Well, this song in partnership with what we've been talking about today is about the beautiful deliciousness and pain of coming to Earth and being here, and how even though it can be painful to be here, this is where everybody wants to be. This is the party. It's by Delirium. It's old school goodie, and it's called Fallen.
Oh, wonderful. Hope you guys enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Love you all.
Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.